will start voicing their concerns more.
Hmm.
I think it's hard. I think we've got elderly homes that have over 100 beds, and I do wonder whether or not actually we're going to learn from infection control that actually
Mm.
having many people in one service isn't recommended. Whether those kind of changes do happen or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, with regards to whether we see care workers as more professional, I don't see how that's going to change anytime soon.
No,
Um,
that's for me. Sorry to cut in there, but for me, that's like the biggest disappointment. I think I don't like it where often, especially with learning disabilities, it's so close to that minimum wage, and I'm like, why? Because and it comes back to what we started on. It when people want to get into the job. When I got into the job, okay, I got into it because of my sister, and there was some attachments there. But for most people that don't have it, that maybe have got the gift, they've got the skill, they've got the ability, but maybe they've never thought about it in the same way because of the perception. Um, but if there was more value in that role, which there should be, because at the end of the day, when somebody, when I had young people show up, and sometimes when I used to talk to them about ambition, it was a very difficult conversation, because on one hand, they would almost give me not a lot of ambition, because they were quite happy doing what they were doing with the resident. And on the other hand, I thought, you don't, that's not great for me to be able to coach you to the next level. But then I kind of thought to myself after, like, as a balancing act, and I don't know if you see this as well, Mark, that actually there's nothing wrong with somebody just wanting to work with people. And maybe they're so good at that, and they've got such amazing skills to work multifaceted almost with a variety of different people, different needs. Why that job shouldn't be and hold more value to the fact where you don't have to just be a manager to progress and earn more money, that there should be the avenue of saying, you know what, you are an incredible carer, you working with human beings, you're at the most accountable level we have in the job. You should be, paid properly. And your job should actually be, that is the ambition, to just get better, to connect with people more, build relationships. Ultimately, that's the job. And only after coming away did I actually have that sort of, I don't know, that thought process of thinking, maybe I was wrong. Maybe when I was looking for ambition from people, it was kind of right staring at me in the face. And that is kind of what they wanted to do. And there's nothing wrong with that now.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I've got care workers that I work with now, and I've worked in the past that are happy being a care worker.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's about supporting them in different ways. Do you actually
Yeah,
do you want more training with anything?
sure.
Do you want a qualification, even though you don't want to progress, or
Mm-hmm.
do you want to, I think that we can still support them and, upskill them in different areas
Mm-hmm.
than obviously even if they want to follow like an admin route or a manager's route. I often wonder whether, kind of taking it back slightly, whether because social care is one of the only industries that is growing, and I think is expected just to grow and grow. And I think as we see technology taken over in factories, whether we'll see all those people that would have gone into factory work go
Mm-hmm.
into social care.
Right.
I, I do worry on that behalf that we're never going to be seen as skilled, because it'll
Yeah.
then just look like it's that industry that anybody can go into. And I think home care is definitely taking off, and I think it's probably now, if not bigger, on par
Mm-hmm.
with care homes. And I
Yeah.
think, sadly, my experience of home care is that they kind of employ near enough anybody,
Mm-hmm.
because the more carers they have, the more customers they have, which
Mm-hmm.
ultimately means more profit.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, I think they have a huge, I think it's like social, there's a huge turnaround everywhere. But I think, yeah, I do worry that because obviously as we see those kind of industries shut, whether or not, yeah, whether it will ever be seen as professional. I think we've seen it during the pandemic, where we've had like like flight attendants laid off and have gone into social care, or
Mm-hmm.
people that have had spare time have gone into kind of. But I do worry that actually at the end of lockdown, when all these industries start picking back up, are these people that have joined us going to just be like, well, actually, no, I'm going to go back to doing the job? I mean, all those
Yeah.
residents that they're looking after, all those customers in their own homes are going to be left with nobody.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I've said that, I mean, I'm very lucky that I had a full staff team. I had one person that I'd employed prior to the pandemic, and we were just waiting for his DBS to come back.
Mm-hmm.
But I said that, even if somebody left or we lost somebody that I wouldn't employ into their role, I'd rather cover it myself, because that's my worry, is that you're going to
Yeah.
employ somebody, but you don't actually know if they're joining for the right reason or the wrong reason. But definitely those people that live in their own homes, I worry about if those companies have. And I think they've said that in the last few weeks there's been an increase in the amount of staff that have joined social care, and whether that is because they actually think I want to do a job that makes a difference, or whether that is because they're like, actually it's a job and I can just walk in and do it. But, I do worry about the long-term impact that's going to have on people's lives.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to say a massive thank you, my friend, for taking time out in a busy time of yours at the moment, and for coming on, man, because it's been good to talk to you. I hope, even though it is what it is, I really hope that we do get to a point where even small changes for a bigger change at the end of it is something. I just hope that the awareness is better going forward, and I'd love to have more people on in those sort of positions that I can kind of challenge a little bit like you do, just to kind of, and I'm not talking about just doing it for the sake of doing it, but I'm talking about real points of views on the behalf, almost advocating for the people we support. That's fundamentally what we're here for. And I get those concerns from parents out there that it is very worrying. The lack of information is ridiculously low at most levels of social services. What they give you, most times, unless you ask for it, you're not going to get it. From my experience, I'm fortunate that I worked in the industry, so I know when I'm having a review for my sister, I kind of know those questions. But I can imagine there are a lot of people out there that are very much lost and having to almost educate themselves through the internet or whatever else. We're lucky in that sense that that's a useful tool, but I still feel like there's so little that people are given in terms of opportunity. Before we go, my friend, just I know you've been campaigning for a few things. Is there anything you'd like where my listeners can go and find anything that you've been doing, my friend? And I know you've been on a few other shows that you mentioned as well.
Yeah, I think the biggest campaign, obviously, and I know we've touched on it, is about seeing care workers seen as professional.
Sure.
And I'll share the link with you after.
Yep.
I set up a petition with change.org about obviously seeing care workers as professional and not unskilled. It's got over 100,000 signatures now, which is great.
That's excellent.
I think even if one listener signs it, shares it, that's one more than it had before. I've been campaigning for obviously testing with those with learning disabilities. I think this week it was announced that actually they are going to test all learning disability services. There's now talks of testing services once a fortnight, which is great news. Whether in reality that actually happens or not, we'll have to wait and see. But at the moment, that's what they're talking about. But yeah, no, definitely that first petition about obviously seeing us as professionals and skilled. Yeah, that'd be great to be able to share that.
Excellent. Yeah, and I'll put that down in the description so you guys can see that and just click on it. So thank you very, very much again there, Mark. And like I say, I hope to see you in person in the not too distant future. Fingers crossed. Hopefully that will happen. It'll be good to see you and spend time with you again. It's been great to have you on there, and thanks for your time, buddy.
Yeah, no, thank you very much.